KE friends, I'm so pumped because we start our new Think About It series where we will learn to let God change the way we think. What? Kylan? Is that you?
I think Kylan is trying to lick his elbow. So, what does that have to do with how we can change our thought process?
Well, someone told him that it's impossible to lick your own elbow.
Impossible?
I didn't believe it. I wanted to see if it could change the way of my thinking.
Wow, that's so interesting.
You know what else I heard?
What?
That I wanted to try out. I was told that it's a fact. You cannot inhale or exhale while talking.
You can't? That's so cool. Hey, you want to try it?
Sure.
All right, let's do this. I think I can do it. All right, you try inhaling while I exhale. All right, let's say think on it. Okay? 1, 2, 3. Oh man, I can't do it. Let's try one more time. All right?
They definitely changed my thinking on that.
For sure.
I for sure thought I would be able to do it. Who would have thunk?
Who would have?
I would have never thought that either. Kylan, so many things can change our minds.
Let's let the person who can change our minds be God. He always knows best.
Hey, I have some songs about that. Can we sing them?
Let's do it.
Love so incredible, unexplainable, that you call me by name. You see me through it all, even when I fall. You love me just the same. Creator of the world, you live in my heart. You know my name and you call me friend. You know my beginning and my end. You love me
reaching. Your love was never far. You made a way to get to me. You were the whisper leading me to your heart. Forever I belong to you. Now I can see clearly, my God, you for me. You won't let go. Your love won't let me down. And I know it's true. Yeah, I know that your love is all around. I believe in you, holding on to you, holding on, and I know you will never fail. I want all of you, you never change. Your love won't let me down. Love won't let me Love won't let me Love won't let me. Right when I need you, you listen as I pray. You leave the 99 for me. You paint the sky with promises of your grace. So I will find my way to you. Now I can see clearly, my God, you for me. You won't let go. Your love won't let me down. And I know it's true. Yeah, I know that your love is all around. I believe in you, holding on to you, holding on, and I know you will never fail. I want all of you, you never change. Your love won't let me down. Love won't let me. Love won't let me. Holding on, and I know you will never fail. I want all of you, you never change. Your love won't let me down. Love won't let me.
Weird but true, the hair for colonial wigs wasn't just from humans.
Oh, I like the bow in this one, I'm not gonna lie.
It also came from goats, horses, and yaks. Horse and yak hair held the best curl. Weird but true. The lights that start a drag race are called a Christmas tree.
Weird but true, some volcanic eruptions are so intense, they create lightning.
Weird but true, cows produce more milk when they listen to soothing music. Weird but true, the human brain generates enough electricity to power a light bulb.
Okay, since we're in our Think About It series, what do you say I challenge you to some brain teasers?
Like a quiz?
It'll be fun. All right, KE friends, shout out what you think it is.
Exercise your brain by shouting out the answers to some brain teasers. What has to be broken before you can use it? An egg. What runs around a backyard but never moves? A fence. Which is heavier, a pound of feathers or a pound of rocks? They weigh the same amount, 1 pound.
Those were some questions I really had to think about.
You know what else we should really think about? Like how sometimes I wonder why we may have thoughts that are really negative.
Yeah, I guess I never fully thought about why we have negative thoughts. They sort of just come to my mind at times.
And they're not really from God. Sometimes thoughts can start super small and simple and go away really quickly.
But other times, they can grow to be so big and so bad that they ruin everything about your day.
And we could even find ourselves thinking about things that aren't true or right, and the devil tricks us into thinking lies.
You know, there's someone in the Bible that struggled with his thoughts about who followed Jesus. Let's learn from this story in the Bible.
The Miracle of Mercy. Paul. This is Saul. Saul was a Pharisee who hated the followers of Jesus so much that he would hunt them down to be brought to trial in Jerusalem. And he would even seek to murder them. Saul was uttering threats with every breath, and he was eager to kill the Lord's followers. So he went to the high priest. He asked him to write a letter to the Jews in Damascus that would allow him to arrest any Christians he found there. He wanted to bring them, both men and women, back to Jerusalem in chains. Now Saul went on his way. And as he came near Damascus, a light from heaven flashed around him, and he heard a voice that said, "Saul, Saul, why are you persecuting me?" Saul cried out, "Who are you, Lord?" And the voice said, "I am Jesus. Rise and go into the city, and you will be told what to do." So Saul got up and he opened his eyes, but he couldn't see anything. So the men who were with Saul led him into the city. After 3 days, a man named Ananias came to Saul. He put his hands on Saul, and immediately Saul could see again. And with that, Saul became a follower of Jesus. He became the very thing he had tried to hunt. And he immediately began telling people that Jesus is the Son of God, and he taught them about the mercy of God that he had received. And all who heard him were amazed. He then went by a new name, Paul, as he began preaching not just to the Jewish people, but to everyone. Despite many difficulties like being imprisoned, shipwrecked, and narrowly escaping death multiple times, Paul continued to preach about Jesus. Paul said that he would do everything he could to save people and help them know God. And that's just what he did in order to reach people who would otherwise be unreached. And many came to know Jesus because of what Paul said. Paul taught many in his day through his letters, but even more have come to learn more about Jesus through the letters of Paul that can be read even to this day.
Sometimes, when we don't pay attention to those negative thoughts, it could make us feel really sad inside.
But God created us all so unique and so special.
Yep.
He created us to have minds that think, and he gave us the ability to catch those negative thoughts and check them to see if they match what he says about us in the Bible.
And God's words have such power and can change any thought we have. And when we let him change the way we think, we can start to think the way God says about us.
Saul had a lot of mean thoughts about people who followed Jesus. Thankfully, one day Jesus talked to him from the sky and said, "Saul, why are you hurting me?" He then said, "Get up and go to the city, and you will be told what to do."
His perspective of Jesus changed completely after he went to the city.
It looks like Saul let God change the way he thinks.
And there's more to the story, but before we dive into how his name changes to Paul, let's play a quick memory game.
Memorize the images. Where is the graphics card? The graphic card is at number 6. Where are the 2 lamps? The lamps are hidden in boxes 3 and 5. Test number 3. We go to a medium level. Memorize the images. Where is the lemonade? It's in the box, number 8. Where is the roll of paper and the computer screen? In boxes 3 and 6, we find them. Test number 4. Keep your attention on this test. Memorize the images. Where are these 2 images? In boxes 4 and 7. And the spider web, where is it found? It's hidden in the box, number 6. Test number 5. This test is at a difficult level. Memorize the images. Where are these 2 icons? They are found in boxes 2 and 7. Where is the icon, the letter B? It's in the box, number 5.
We sure are using our brains a lot in this series, am I right?
Mm-hmm.
That was a fun memory game.
I do want to use my brain even more when I catch those bad thoughts like we talked about earlier.
I am going to imagine like popping a balloon. As soon as I think of something that is not from God,
Yes.
I'm going to pop it out of my brain.
I love that idea! I'm gonna think of it as throwing a rock in the ocean and watching it skip through. Once it's in the ocean, it's gone. Just like a negative thought.
I'm so glad we can learn how to let God change the way that we think. let's check back in with our story and let's see how Saul went from Saul to Paul.
Let me tell you about this guy in the Bible named Paul.
Okay, cool. What's his deal?
Well, actually his name was Saul.
Dude, could he not make up his mind?
It's not like that, but kinda. Saul had a lot of mean thoughts about people who followed Jesus.
Oh, really? Mean thoughts like, I hope they step on a Lego.
No. Unfortunately, he was putting them all in jail. And that's exactly what he was doing one day on his way to a city called Damascus. Out of nowhere, a bright light blinded him.
Whoa, kind of like when your dad turns the lights on to wake you up when you're late for school?
Kinda, but this was way brighter. And the shocking part was what Saul heard after he fell to the ground.
Really? Was it, Luke, I am your father?
No, wrong story. It was Jesus talking, and he said, Saul, why are you hurting me? But Saul had no idea who was speaking to him and asked, Who are you, Lord?
I bet Jesus was like, dude, stop messing around with my people.
Not quite. Jesus answered from heaven saying, I am Jesus. I am the one you are hurting. Now get up and go into the city. There you will be told what you must do. As you can imagine, everything Saul thought about Jesus changed completely.
I bet Jesus rules.
When Saul got up from the ground, he realized that he couldn't see anything.
Saul was probably like, a little help here, fellas.
Something like that. The men who were traveling with Saul helped him get to the city. There was a man who lived there named Ananias, who also received a message from Jesus telling him to go to Saul. Now, Ananias had heard about the things Saul had done to the followers of Jesus.
Oh, I bet Ananias was thinking about all the mean things Saul could do to him and said, get me out of here.
Well, he was, but it appeared that Ananias knew how to catch that thought. He checked it by praying and talking to Jesus. That's when Jesus helped Ananias change his mind and go, trusting that Jesus would take care of him. When he got to the place where Saul was staying, he put his hands on Saul's eyes and prayed for him.
What did Saul say? Get your hands off of me, son.
Nope. Remember, Saul's thinking had completely changed. Instead, Saul was thankful for Ananias, and when he touched Saul, he was immediately filled with the Holy Spirit and could see again.
Yay. Whoa! What a miracle!
Over the next 3 years, Saul studied the ways of Jesus and started going by his Roman name, Paul. Everything Paul learned about Jesus changed the way he thought about everything.
So, what you're saying is, Paul never had any more wrong thoughts ever again?
No way. In a letter to the church in Rome, Italy, Paul said, I don't understand why I act the way I do. I don't do what I know is right. But I agree that what God says to do is good. So I am not the one doing these evil things. The sin that lives in me is what does them.
I was wondering what makes me think so many things that aren't good. It all makes sense now. It's not me. It's the sin that lives in me. And I'm sure our enemy, the devil, is trying to attack my thoughts too. It's like I'm in an epic battle for my mind.
That's exactly what Paul said too. In another one of his letters, he said, we live in this world, but don't fight our battles in the same way the world does. The weapons we use are not human ones. Our weapons have power from God.
So what are these weapons? A lightsaber? Captain America's shield?
Not quite, but kind of. Some of the powerful weapons God gives us are the sword of the Spirit, which is his word, the Bible, and the shield of faith, which we can use to stop anything the enemy and anything else in the world throws at us to keep us from knowing God.
Whoa, that's awesome! So, do we need to do this with every thought that pops into our mind?
Paul said we should capture every thought and make it obey what Jesus says.
That sounds hard to do with every single thought I have.
We definitely need God's help to change our thinking. And the good news is, if we will just let him be in charge of our lives and get to know him more each day, he will help us change all of our thoughts.
It may happen again for us to think bad things, but actually it's not us. It's the devil getting into our heads and attacking our thoughts.
Although it could happen again, we now know what to do to prevent it from continuing.
Which is?
Letting God change the way that we think.
And KE friends, what does that bring us to?
Our takeaway for the day.
Stand up
with us.
Let God
change
change the way
Change the way
you think.
you think.
You guys did amazing! But let's do it together this time. Are you guys ready?
Ready?
Let God change the way you think.
That was so good, KE friends. Let's check in with our Bible verse.
Don't live the way this world lives. Let your way of thinking be completely changed. Romans 12:2a. Don't live the way this world lives. Let your way of thinking be completely changed. Romans 12:2a. Don't live the way this world lives. Let your way of thinking be completely changed. Romans 12:2a.
I'm closer to you, but I feel like I'm so far away. 'Cause I let my fear get in front of my faith. I'm back and forth like a wave in the wind. But I hear your voice and it's pulling me in. It's pulling me in. I wanna walk on water, take the leap, and step out knowing you will let me sink. I wanna trust you deeper, live life believing that you are everything you say you are. 'Cause you're everything you say you are. Everything you say you are. I prayed for your proof and I've asked you to give me a sign. But you already did and you traded your life for mine. You called my name through the rain and the wind. I hear your voice and it's pulling me in. You're pulling me in. I wanna walk on water, take a leap, and step out knowing you won't let me sink. I wanna trust you deeper, live life believing that you are everything you say you are. 'Cause you're everything you say you are. Everything you say you are. You're the start and the ending. You're the reason for living. You're the beat in every heart. You're everything you say you are. I wanna walk on water, take the leap, step out knowing you won't let me sink. Trust you deeper, keep believing that you are. I wanna walk on water, take the leap, and step out knowing you won't let me sink. I wanna trust you deeper, live life believing that you are. You're everything you say you are. 'Cause it's everything you say you are. You're the reason you say you are. You're the beat in every heart. You're everything you say you are.
Man, today was so much fun! Let's reflect on what we got to learn today. Our first question is, what are some examples of thoughts that God wants us to change?
Our second question is, how can we catch and check our thoughts that aren't pleasing to God?
And our final question is, what are some ways your thoughts have power over the way you live?
Another awesome part about our friendship with God is praying to Him.
I love getting to talk to God daily. It is so much fun, and all the questions that I have in my brain go straight to Him. You want to pray together?
Let's do it.
All right. God, thank you so much for always being there for us and helping us with our thoughts.
Yeah, God, thank you so much for being the perfect guide. God, whenever we may feel lost or our thoughts are guiding us in ways that we don't want to go, God, we know that you are the perfect guide and you are always going to be there for us. We love you so much.
Amen! Man, what an awesome day it has been. I have loved getting to learn about the way that God can change the way we think.
So guys, I'm clipping my fingernails and toenails.
Whoa, but I know you guys are all thinking the same thing as me. What does that have to do with changing our thinking?
Of course. Supposedly our fingernails grow 4 times faster than our toenails. I thought I could cut them the same height and test it and see if I would change my thinking on this.
That's really cool, but isn't there another way you could test this that's much faster?
Well, I definitely could test how if we could drive straight up the air, it would only take 1 hour.
1 hour?
To make it to space.
To make it to space?
I wish I could.
Oh yeah, I don't think that's very possible.
I wanted to see how long it takes to grow a pineapple, but supposedly that would take 2 to 3 years.
2 to 3 years? Well, I probably don't think that we have that much time right now.
I also read that every step you take uses over 200 muscles.
Wow, that's crazy. Oh man, we can change the way we think all the time.
I agree with you, boys. We change our thinking all the time.
One more reason why it's important to let God be the one to change the way that we think.
Well said. See you next week, KE friends.